doing all that it can to keep us controlled on a plantation, as I say. Let's be honest. This is nothing but a plantation. The only difference this time is all of us on the plantation of all colors.
It's a sad day, but the other thing that always occurs to me is that this is now shaping up as an international cause célèbre. I was at the Russian embassy here in Washington this past week, and one of my principal themes in talking to people was that old adage, right? If the State Department says Navalny, or if the State Department says human rights in any form, the answer of Russia and many, many other countries, the Holy See, China, you name it, anybody in Latin America or Europe, that answer ought to be Pinckney, because that is the massive hypocrisy and vulnerability of this U.S. Establishment, right? Is that they do things that are right up there with the worst that's done in any foreign country you can name.
That's true. And unfortunately, instead of getting better, Webster, it is becoming much, much worse. And I always say this because I have to be crystal clear. I do not believe that the people of this nation live in a democracy. We live in what I call a hypocrisy. It's a hypocrisy. It's a corporate plutocracy. Everyday ordinary people of all colors, of any colors, do not control our government. They do not control, we do not even control our daily existence. So, yes, as the Russians would say, no. So,
okay. Larry, we'll see you next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care. Stay strong, brother.
Hopefully we'll get some better news, but we're gonna be with you. Back in a minute on World Crisis Radio.
Attention listeners, SurvivalLife.com is giving away free EverStrike permanent matches for a limited time only. These matches are waterproof and will light in any weather condition, rain, snow, or sleet. It will still throw a spark. Its built-in ferro rod strikes at 3,000 degrees, and it is good for 15,000 strikes. Normally, $15. Today, it's free. Get yours at freesurvivallighter.com. Again, that's freesurvivallighter.com. Hurry, supplies are limited. Visit freesurvivallighter.com today.
By now, you heard about Bitcoins, but did you know that over 65,000 businesses accept Bitcoins? Listen, if you're already earning Bitcoins or trying to make money in the Bitcoin market, you've got to know bidbit.co, because at bidbit.co, you can receive Bitcoin by selling your personal items or business products. You heard right. Whether personal or business, you can now buy, sell, and auction your products quickly, easily, and securely at bidbit.co. That's bit.co. bidbit.co.
We all know that Berkey Water Purification Systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey Water Filtration Systems. The Berkey Light Systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light System today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at goberkey.com. That's goberkey.com today.
Hi, this is Steve Sanchez, and based on a recent study, it was found that 57 million Americans had legal issues over the last 12 months, but only 60% of those studied sought out the services of a lawyer. Why? In a nutshell, affordability. Well, my friends at Legal Shield have created a solution that can help you not if, but when you need an attorney. For as little as $17 per month, Legal Shield will provide you unlimited access to qualified attorneys at an accomplished law firm for advice and counsel on legal issues, no matter how serious or trivial. For over 40 years and with 1.4 million families across North America, Legal Shield can help you, the loyal GCN listener. Representatives are standing by now to answer your questions, so call them now at 1-855-340-SAVE. That's 1-855-340-7283, or visit them at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com.
Results will vary from case to case.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Here is what one doctor has to say about Extendovite.
I would like to thank you, Don, for making my job so much easier, because your products just make it so simple, right? To fool around with a lot of exotic things that don't work, we can just put them on your product and things start to work almost right away. I've had dozens of patients with heart problems who have corrected them, and what it's doing, there's so much garlic in there that has a yeast-killing effect. The yeast is a big problem in the gut, pushes the liver hard. It also has metal chelating effect, and most of the other herbs in there I find that strengthen the arteries. They help to neutralize free radicals. Your remedy close to what we do in our program as you can get as far as one supplement goes. It's working on the gut, it's working on the liver, it's working on the arteries. What more can you ask for?
To get your Extendovite, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
A little right, a little left, but always independent-minded. The Genesis Communications Network, GC.
Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. This is Webster Tarpley here in Washington, D.C. Now, we've gotten the main facts on the Pinckney hearings held today in St. Joseph, Michigan, Benton Harbor area, but the Berrien County courthouse. But now there's another dimension to this, in the sense that Reverend Pinckney has received interest from perhaps an unexpected quarter, but it does indicate a rapidly growing concern on a broader front about this monstrous miscarriage of justice. So for this, we want to bring in a person who has played a role second to none in assembling and guiding the legal defense of Reverend Pinckney, and also the political side of that. It's Daniela Walls, the chairwoman of the Tax Wall Street Party, and she's going to tell us about some other aspects of the proceedings today. So welcome, Daniela.
Hello, Webster. You just told me during the break that all motions were denied.
All motions denied. No, he can't be free on bail. He can't have these felonies made back into what they really are, which is misdemeanors. And of course, he's innocent anyway. And not even the courtesy of staying in the Benton Harbor area. Got to go back to Marquette, all the way up there in the North Pole.
Yeah, so this is going to be a tough 10 minutes for me to get through, because I don't want to shed a tear about it. Sorry. I have breaking news that the ACLU came to our defense this morning. Before I tell you exactly what the ACLU did, I got to give some key back points, or else it might not make sense.
Please do. Take your time.
So today was not an evidentiary hearing on the juror issue, but to consider the two other motions that they apparently denied. Well, this is, I didn't expect them to get denied, so I'm a little disoriented. But today our lawyers were supposed to argue the legal sufficiency of the evidence and try to get Pinckney, the hell out of Marquette by getting him bond posted. The judge sets bond based on certain criteria like flight risk, connections to the community, and seriousness of the charges. Connections to the community means if the judge is trying to determine what type of flight risk Reverend Pinckney is, the more connections to the community he has, the better, and the less flight risk he is. Meaning we have to show things like he has a house, he and his wife has ties to the community, and he has a ministry in the community.
He's got a congregation. He's the pastor of a large, important congregation of people there. So he's not going to, abandon them. No.
Right. Then there's the seriousness of the crime charged. here it comes into play, like, was this a violent crime? And it was not a violent crime.
No.
They are, so they were supposed to rank this as low in the sense that it's not a violent crime, but I don't know exactly what happened there.
We got the usual flim-flam from Sepik and Judge Schrock.
Exactly. So the big criteria they were supposed to determine was whether he was going to flee the jurisdiction. And we were saying that, the burden was on us to prove he had all these connections. So we didn't think we'd have a problem with that. The lawyers tell me that it seems to them, or it seemed to them, right? Because I just spoken on the phone with lawyers, that he was obviously a low flight risk. They could put an ankle bracelet on him today and mandate those intermediate measures. But the only thing that could be against this, and I guess that's what happened, was them saying, "Oh well, this is a felony. You're facing 10 years. Given that this is a significant sentence, we feel like you're a flight risk, so you're going to go back to prison, and we're going to deny you the bond." So I have a lot of legal notes here.
Well, why don't we get to the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union? That's the novelty. Tell us that.
Okay. So the American Civil Liberties Union submitted to the court for the hearing today. The ACLU filed a brief in support to grant the motion for bond pending appeal and to give him a new trial based on the fact that Pinckney should have been charged as a misdemeanor, not as a felon. I posted the entire ACLU brief at freepinckney.wordpress.com on the homepage along with the other pleadings. The ACLU has now briefed the misdemeanor felony issue better than Pinckney's original lawyers did. I'm going to read the 3-line intro.
Please do. Go ahead.
It has ACLU letterhead, and it says, "Dear Clerk of the Court, enclosed you will find an original copy and one copy of motion of the American Civil Liberties Union of Michigan for leave to file an amicus curiae brief and brief in support. You will find the certificate of service on the last page of the brief. I will post this." So that's the introduction, and then they've got the other precedent-setting case. And let me keep going. So there's no doubt. I want to say one thing really quickly. There's no doubt that the ACLU came forward because of activism, the activism. The ACLU cited something pivotal, and this is different than we knew before. Mike Sepik, the prosecutor, argued that he had the discretion to prosecute Pinckney under a felony or a misdemeanor. He did not have that discretion. The ACLU's brief says this argument has been rejected because the precedent set in another case in a neighboring district, because of that case, they say that this case they include is legally identical. The Michigan Court of Appeals in the other case determined that falsifying a date on an election petition must be prosecuted as a misdemeanor. They say the unanimous opinion was rendered less than 3 months ago. So they are citing this new case law that says this is a misdemeanor. And our lawyer, Jeffrey, says their arguments were directly on point. Our lawyer says their felony misdemeanor filing looks like a slam dunk, or so we thought, because the Michigan Court of Appeals issued a case just 3 months ago on the exact same issue. There should have been no argument that the prosecutor, Sepik, had any discretion to prosecute this as a felony. Mike Sepik knew about this precedent-setting decision by the Michigan Court of Appeals. So his argument that he could prosecute Pinckney as a felon is 100% wrong. The ACLU attached a case, that case, in their brief, which, again, you can read at freepinckney.wordpress.com. And if we have a little more time, I'm going to summarize the brief because it's legal language.
Okay, we have very limited time. We just have to the end of the segment.
So their arguments were that he deserves bond pending appeal, and that has to be granted. Right. That he's not a flight risk, he's not a potential harm to the community. Then number 3 was the substantiality of the appeal. This means how likely it is that he will be successful on appeal. Certainly at worst, we determined that this will be neutral, and then the risk of proper administration on justice, which is right now at this time amorphous to me. So that's what I've got on the case, and I'm sorry if I was disoriented and sad.
You were not disoriented in any way. You are a key person in this defense. Of course, you always have to hope for the best and prepare for the worst, right? Dealing with this kangaroo court system that we have here in the United States.
I know.
Right?
I just found
so
out 5 seconds.
pretentious and arrogant and so forth. But look, there's a big political success, at least in the medium run, right? Maybe today it was a loser, but the fact that the American Civil Liberties Union comes forward, that's a big political shift. That's very important.
That's because of the RT appearance, I believe. I've heard rumored.